we looked at something, we found something in a site called Contra Costa Times Watch, and, basically they said, look, Lisa Vorderbrueggen wrote this article. I can't remember the subject, but I'll find it and we'll put up the link. But basically it was, this Contra Costa Times Watch is saying, look, Lisa Vorderbrueggen and the liberal Contra Costa Times is trying to protect this liberal candidate. They don't want to bring up, I think it was Mark Desaulnier.
No.
And it basically was saying, Desaulnier, in this person's opinion, wrecked, different budgets of offices that he was, the budgets that he was in charge of in various offices. And it's like, why isn't she bringing that up? The only thing she's bringing up about financial ruin is from Republican candidates.
It's amazing.
Is that controversial? Is that kind of partisan? And that's something, again, it's another little question mark that's falling around her reporting. Now,
and let me tell you this, that's the same Mark Desaulnier, if I remember right, who she immediately went to as the second person, bypassing all the other candidates, including the African-American candidate, at this forum that she was doing, to totally screw up everyone's names and the orders, that whatever. Apparently, you seem to get these little tip-offs. And again, she's trying to put over that she's so objective. She won't tell anyone who she votes for. She won't tell anybody what political persuasion she is, even though it's pretty clear.
Yeah, and let me just say, following up on this Saulnier thing. Now, she was hit by the blog. I mean, I think it was actually written on a couple blogs, but I know this one blog called Bog City Journal, and we'll put a link up to it. And I don't know if this is the title of the blog entry or if it's the title of Vorderbrueggen's own piece, but it was called An Ear Inside, Replacing Congresswoman Tauscher of California. And this person who wrote the blog entry was like, look, in your piece, you say that it's becoming a crowded field to replace Ellen Tauscher, but it's, you only mention one person in your whole piece, Saulnier. How is it that it's so crowded, but you can't mention anybody except Desaulnier? And the person who wrote this blog entry, they emailed Vorderbrueggen. She's like, oh, Desaulnier is the clear front runner, and so that justifies it. Because he's the front runner, we can do this whole flowing, glowing piece on him. Well, let me ask you this, Lisa Vorderbrueggen. If you only like to write about front runners, why are you doing a story about a candidate in a GOP primary who essentially can't win?
Thank you.
Your story is built around that.
Yes, and I know it. I said it. And see, here's the funny thing, right? Here's the funny thing, and I'm not going to name names, but everyone can connect all the dots that they want to connect. The funny thing about the whole Robert Beadles thing is once I figured out, I mean, look, who's the real political genius here? I looked at De La Rose and that, and people that were behind putting him up there and pushing him, this and that, whatever, from the state party and the local party. And nothing against the guy personally either. He seemed nice when I talked to him, like whatever. But I mean, just looking at him as a political analyst, I knew the guy couldn't win like that. Immediately. And I told it to Tom Del Piccaro's face, the vice chairman of the California Republican Party, who seemed to be really excited about De La Rose. Yay! And Michael Caparusso's face, who was, or is executive director of Contra Costa Republican Party. And I told it to everyone else that asked me. Couldn't win. Dude dropped out because he couldn't win, right? And I said it. And they told me. Well, they told me he was a strong candidate. And so a couple quick things. And so I knew it immediately. Once I knew Beadles was running, and I took a look at this thing, immediately knew. Saw him, saw his tapes, saw his speeches, saw his association, saw what he said, saw his, how he could speak to a crowd. That knew immediately the guy couldn't win. And I said it. See, the difference and why our viewers trust us, why our audience trusts us, why we're growing and exploding like leaps and bounds. And frankly, you just freaking helped us. You don't even know that. You thought you killed us. You just helped us. Because guess what? 5 or 10 years from now, in my opinion, I'm willing to bet it's at least 50-50. Nobody's going to care about the Contra Costa Times if y'all are still even in business, okay? But we're still going to be up here. We're still going to be growing this, that, whatever. And all that matters is results. You're getting us views. You're getting us audience. It helps us. But anyway, I don't want to get distracted. What the crime that you try to impute on me as being so biased and this and that, whatever, I analyzed quicker than anybody else and said what everybody else has said to me that I've talked to that won't say on the record. So who should we trust? People like you or people like me that lay it out and stand by it? Think about it. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, let me just say, we've said this before, we'll repeat
You're
it
phonies.
again right now. John and I have nothing against Robert Beadles or Della Rose, who was, I can't remember his first name, but another candidate that was, at one point was a candidate for CD11 stuff. They're both, at least we know that Robert Beadles is a successful businessman. He got himself out of a tough early upbringing. Yeah. We celebrate that.
Absolutely.
They're capitalists.
Absolutely.
They're conservative.
Absolutely.
We don't hate on people that have, wealthy. No. Good for them. This has nothing to do with this. This is our other stuff, and this is about the state of the California GOP, and it's also about, getting the best candidates and marketplace of great ideas. We've never turned anybody away. The only people we have turned away from the blog are people that are just spouting Alex Jones type of nonsense, and that does not include Robert Beadles. Robert Beadles had an invitation to come. He didn't take it. That's not our fault.
He still has an invitation.
We just wanted the best candidates. Yeah. We want the truth, and we want conservative principles to be, expressed and celebrated. That's it. We don't have anything against Della Rose or Robert Beadles at all.
He still can come and post to respond to any and all of this. That's fine. The thing of it is these people are phonies. They try to put themselves up with, this is the same thing Obama and these people try to do. Oh, they're extreme. Don't listen to them. Tea Party people, they're extreme. Fox News is extreme. Glenn Beck's extreme. Sean Hannty's extreme. Laura Ingram's extreme. Ann Coulter's extreme. Anybody, National Review is maybe extreme. George Will, we're not even sure about him anymore. Everybody's extreme and shouldn't be listened to. Fox News is not a real news source, this and that, whatever, if you don't go against them. Now think about this. And you just have to connect the dots. If you were a political editor at a mainstream media, first of all, almost all mainstream media are liberal. That's not me saying this. That's studies saying this. That's polls saying this. That's self-identification. That's party registration. That's pretty easy to see, right? For years. That's number one. Number two, the newspaper people in particular are really, they all have a lot of them have a bias that they're the real news people, the real press, the real journalists, and they don't like the TV people or the other news or radio people a lot of times, even though they need them to promote their stuff. And their business is going out of style, and they get crazy about this. We've battled this with all kinds of people all over the place, and they get, they're really upset about this. This has gone on forever. This is not new news. But also, if you're liberal and you're a little beat now as a political editor, and you think you're the kingmaker, and you think you're coming up with doing your little moderating debates, this and that, whatever, and you see someone who's just blowing doors and is awesome, and you're liberal and they're conservative, and you have cozied up or have been and all this is obviously in our opinion. We're not trying to make any claims or anything like that, but have been accused by others in the past of cozying up to liberal politicians and playing favorites. If you were a liberal mainstream media reporter, what two things would you want to do most in the Republican primary to protect Jerry McNerney, Democratic Congressman from the 11th District, if that was your goal? Let's see. Three things. A, you want to take out any other media sources that might get any info. Well, sorry. A would be to take out the leading primary candidate that can really contest McNerney. Hurt him now. That would be Brad Garrett. B, you would try to continue to breathe and give life to the more fringe extreme candidates that don't have a chance of winning, but if they stay around and can muck it up a little bit, will cost the front runners and whoever wins the primary money. Maybe some credibility, this and that, whatever. Keep their focus away. And also make it look like the Republicans are running really extreme candidates. Don't you think, if that was your motivation, if you're really liberal and you really wanted to tip the scales, don't you think that someone like that would love to see a John Delarose who just, you know, was a young kid that couldn't speak for anything and didn't seem to be in command of the issues, in my opinion, as the challenger to McNerney, a sitting congressperson who's going to have Nancy Pelosi's money and everyone